What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466cards, and today we're doing another card spotlight. Usually I will focus on one card or a couple of cards or a set of cards that I find interesting for one reason or another. Today I'm not focusing on one card. I'm not even focusing on one sport. What I'm going to do is focus on the Scoring Kings insert from 93 Ultra and compare the basketball set with the hockey set, because I find this really fascinating, and you'll see why when we get to the comparison. So on your screen right now is the most famous Scoring Kings card, which is the Michael Jordan. It's a beautiful looking card, and in a PSA 9 it is a Pop 351 worth about $2,000 as of mid-July, which I'm recording this August 16th, so it's been about a month since the last sale, but it's worth about $2,000 and Pop 351. So there's a good number of them out there. If we could look at other players, a Shaq in a PSA 9, it's worth about $260 in a Pop 183. Charles Barkley Pop 73 in a PSA 9 worth a little over $200, and even a player like Alonzo Mourning in a PSA 9, it's a Pop 77 and it's worth a little bit over $100. So even Alonzo Mourning in a decent grade has some value. You can see here, really good looking card. Now, if we look at the universal pop report, so shout out to Ryan from GemRate for putting these together. It's amazing data. You could see that the Alonzo Mourning, it is a Pop 19 in all gem mints across PSA and BGS. And it's been graded 390 times. If we look at the Michael Jordan, however, it's been graded over 4,600 times with 200 gem mints, basically 100 each across PSA and BGS. 100 each at PSA and BGS, I should say. And so that's in a 10 and in a gem mint grade, like, it's not totally rare, but in a PSA 9, definitely not rare, right? You can see almost 1,000 of them across the 4 grading companies. And that's obviously the most graded card because it has the most value. But even if we look at a Charles Barkley, across all the companies, it's been graded about 500 times. Only 16 gem mints, but in 9s, there's about 100 of them, mostly in PSA slabs, right? So those are the grades across the various grading companies for a few of the basketball cards. Now let's move over to hockey. This is the Wayne Gretzky 93 Scoring Kings. It's been graded a total of 73 times at PSA, only 21 gem mints. Compare that with Jordan. Oh, where did it go? Where did it go? Let me pull it. Here it is. 4,600 times, 200 gem mints. Whereas a Gretzky is graded 73 times, only 21 gem mints at PSA. If we look at this, at BGS, it's only been graded 8 times, so it's basically irrelevant. So these pop numbers are way lower. If we look at my favorite player, Mario Lemieux, graded at PSA 21 times, only 9 gem mints, so basically nothing, right? If you look at 21 graded cards, 73 slabs at PSA for Gretzky versus, if we look at this, 4,600, even for a Shaq, it's been graded 1,200 times. A Barkley, it's been graded 500 times. Gretzky's been graded 73 times at PSA and 21 times for Lemieux. It's not even close. So you might be thinking, well, these Gretzky and Lemieux, obviously two of the GOATs of hockey, they must be worth a ton, especially a PSA 10. The Lemieux, like I said, in a PSA 10, only a Pop 9 here in a PSA 10 for a Gretzky, Pop 21. And they're not. A Scoring Kings PSA 10 is worth $270 for a Gretzky and about half that for a Lemieux. That is not what you would have expected. And in fact, if you're looking for raw copies, you can get a Gretzky. You can see here, it's the same card. A Gretzky Scoring Kings for $450 raw, $10, $550. Like, these are available at various price points here. $10. Like, there's plenty of them available online. And the Lemieux, you could get one for $3 raw. You can see there's a few other ones here, but yeah, you can see here $6.75. Like these are basically worth nothing. They're dollar bin cards at best. And you compare that with someone like Alonzo Mourning, Charles Barkley, $200, $115 in a 9. They're not comparable. Like they're like basically the basketball cards are worth something. The basketball scoring kings are worth something. The hockey ones are not. They're treated like bargain bin cards, whereas the basketball ones are not. Even though the pop counts are much very different, and it's because they're not worth anything, right? And so it's a little bit of a chicken and egg on that one. But why are the basketball cards held in such high regard and the hockey ones are not? Obviously, basketball has a much bigger audience and a much bigger appeal to collectors, right? Like there's just more basketball fans out there. Hockey is not as big and popular of a sport as hockey. So I get that, right? But it doesn't explain why an entire set is completely ignored in a sport like this, where PSA 10 pop 20 or whatever it was, right? Like what was the Gretzky? Pop 21, and then the Lemieux is pop 9. It's worth $270, $140, whereas a Charles Barkley and a PSA 9 with a pop 73 is worth $200. Like those are not equal. They're not being viewed the same way. And I don't think that just the difference between basketball and hockey and the popularity in both the sports and also the popularity as collectors is the sole reason. The only other reason I can think about is that these cards look pretty cool, the basketball ones. And you can see here, there's like lightning in the background. You can see here, the morning one has a nice effect in the background. And the Barkley, you can't really see because it's a small image. But the Shaq has a nice lightning background. Whereas if we look at the Fleer version, or sorry, the hockey version, and we'll do a zoomy zoom here. And where did it go? Here we go. Here's the Gretzky. The image is like they have a little bit of a lightning bolt on the stick, but that's about it. You got this like little logo here, which you also get in the Jordan, right? You get the logo here, and there's like lightning in the background, but it's a much better designed and like it highlights the player and nothing else. And so is it that these cards, like this Lemieux here, again, the stick has the lightning bolt, they have that little logo, but it's not as exciting of a card where it's not just the player and nothing else, and the background is kind of blacked out. Is that the reason? Because the aesthetics of the card is better compared to the hockey version? I don't know what the answer is here, but I think that might have something to do with it, but it's still very puzzling. You would think that some of the appeal of the Scoring Kings insert would translate across sports into hockey, but it doesn't seem like it has. This is, where is the card here? Yeah, this is a pop 21 in a PSA 10, and it's worth $200 of, like, most people view Gretzky as the GOAT. And yet, not so much for the Scoring Kings card. So I'm not sure why that is. I think part of it has to do with the popularity of the sport and the size of the collector bases, but I don't think it's everything. Is it the aesthetics of the card and the fact that this looks like more of a common card compared to this? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I just thought this comparison was really interesting when we compared the pops, the price points of two different sports, and how the same insert is valued so differently and viewed so differently, because you can see there's not a lot of hockey collectors clamoring for any of the Scoring Kings cards. Would love to hear your comments down below as to why this is, and maybe Cajun Cardboard can weigh in with his Jordan hierarchy knowledge and weigh in as to why this might be. Thank you as always for listening and watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.